Hi, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to take you along with me to Berlin, Germany. This is the first of 5 cities that I explored this summer. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, before I get on a plane and head to Berlin, I'm going to pack up my bag and decide what supplies are coming with me and get my journal all ready to go. So I have here, this is my planner, and I'm not bringing this with me, but it has my itinerary on it, just the basic, like what city I'm in when, so I can mark that in my journal because I'm going to do a little bit of pre-setup. And I'm going to set up each city in the vlog for that city. So in this one, I'm going to share how I'm setting up for Berlin and what I'm bringing with me. So let's see here, my monthly spread. So I finished July. This is August, and I'm making the executive decision that I'm not going to work on this while I'm in Europe. When I come home, I will pick something to put in each square for the duration of my trip. I'll be getting home this day, so I might work on it that day or that weekend. And I did put a sticker for the Eras tour, and I put this for a flight I have in the middle of my trip, but the rest I will wait and see what I might pick up stickers on my trip. I might decide to doodle stuff. I'm not sure. We'll see. For weekly, I'm still not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to just put some washi tape on here to mark where I am. And I might actually stamp it or something. So I'm going to try to work on that right now. And then for the daily pages, this is today when we're getting on a plane. And we're losing a full day between the flight and the time change. So I'm really starting my adventure on August 1st. These are going to be travel pages. So I'm probably going to do something related to the actual travel on here. Maybe I'll do like itineraries or something. And then I'm going to do journaling for each day in the trip. So I think what I'm going to do is set up Berlin first. What I'm going to do is use my magazine cutout alphas to write where I am that day. And let's see, I'm just going to move this out of the way a little bit. So I'm going to do that first right here. And then I'm going to start going through my supplies and deciding what to bring. So this is my pouch that I normally keep my journal in like this at home, and I carry it around. I can carry it to work with me. Actually, I have some stickers in here that I just got that don't normally keep in here, but I have whiteout, I have adhesive, I have some markers, I have rulers, stickers, all my pens, washi tape back here. And what I'm going to do, what I've decided is, and I have more stickers in here, is I don't want all these markers and stuff on the outside because it could fall out. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring this pouch, but I'm not going to have so much stuff on the outside. I'm going to leave a lot of these empty, and I'm going to use this case to bring markers and some other things with me. I am going to bring some washi samplers. I'm going to make some more though, because these ones are ones that I made a long time ago, and I'm not sure that I even really want these washis. This one was a travel one with some of my older travel washi, but I think I'm going to make a couple of new samplers. So I have some plastic here to do that. So I'm going to cut it down and make some samplers. And I think I'm going to make them a size where they could fit in here or in here, so I have some flexibility. And I'm going to go through my markers and decide which ones I want to bring. Right now I have a lot of the twin tones in here. I have the Sharpie Creative markers, and I have some mild liners, as well as my favorite pens and things. So I'm going to have to narrow it down, especially the creative markers. I love these, but they're super thick. So I'm probably only going to bring like 1 or 2. And then I have this here, this little plastic case. And this I will probably put some like magazine clippings and other stickers or things that I want to bring. And it's solid so that they're not going to get like crumpled up. So I'm going to put you guys on fast forward and do all of this, get all of this set up, and get on my plane and get going. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing is setting up my weeklies and my dailies, and I'm putting in stickers to indicate Berlin on my weekly, and then on my daily, I'm going to write in the word Berlin using my magazine cutouts, and I'm also going to write "Let's go" on my travel page. I'm going to do something similar for the rest of the cities that we're visiting on this trip, but I will share that process in those travel and document with me videos. However, because this is the first one, I'm going to share more of my setup in this one. So I ultimately decided not to bring my Delphonics pouch with me. I know I said that I was going to, but once I started looking through everything, I decided that it would be easier to have just a few small compartments, and the way that it would fit in my carry-on would make more sense. So the first thing I'm doing here is going through all of my markers and pens. So I'm pulling out my mild liners, my favorite mild liners, and then I'm going to go through my Tombow Twin Tones and my Sharpie Creative markers. These are my favorite markers at the moment. I go through a lot of phases, but you can see there in my Hobonichi Cousin how I have paired the twin tones with mild liners. So I'm picking out my favorite ones so that I could do a couple of spreads that have journaling on them in this way, because that's one of my favorite ways to journal and add a bit of color right now. I'm also going to go through the Sharpie Creative markers and bring a couple of those. They're so thick, they take up a lot of space, so I'm really only going to bring a couple of them. And I'm trying to decide which colors I really want to bring and be able to use. So that page that I flipped to there is my where I swatched them. So I put all my favorite markers in there, and of course I also have my dot marker and my Funisuki hard and soft tips and my mark-on. Sarasa Mark-On 0.5, which is my main pen. I have a couple of those I brought. I have a rolling adhesive, a whiteout, my ruler, and my scissors. So I put all of that in there, and now I'm going to work on my washi. So what I am doing is cutting down these plastic sheets, which I got on Amazon, and I will link them down below. And I'm just cropping them to fit inside this pen case, because that way I can keep my washi samplers inside my pen case with my pens. And then I'm rounding the corners because the corners are pretty pointy and sharp, and that just makes it a little bit smoother for wrestling around in my bag. And then I'm going to go through my washi and swatch it on here. I sped this up really fast because watching me roll washi onto these is going to take forever. But I did want to point out just a few things about this. So when you put it on here, it's pretty easy to take it back off. I just go around a few times and just try to keep it steady so that it stacks right on top of each other. You want to leave a little bit of a gap between the two strips of washi, because if they overlap with another one, you won't be able to peel it back up very easily. And I'm just putting some of my favorite ones that I think might be relevant to my vacation. So I'm doing a lot of travel ones and a lot of just like my favorites right now. So a lot of these are from the Coffee Monster Co., Everyday Explorers, and just a few other places. Okay, so I made one sampler that was kind of travel themed and one that were just like my general favorites. Next, I decided to go through my stickers. I really, really love using stickers in my hobonichi cousin. I made the decision to not do the monthly spread while I was traveling, but I did want to bring some stickers that I could use, specifically travel related ones and Taylor Swift, because my plan was to go to the Taylor Swift concert while I was there. So I decided to bring my cover on my hobonichi cousin there. You can see I put it back on. I don't typically use the cover because my cousin is too chunky, so I have to like flip it back on itself to right, so I have to take it out of the cover. But when I travel with it, I put it in the cover to protect it. Next, I'm going through my Coffee Monster Co. stickers, and I use these on my weekly spread to designate all of my various activities. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just going through all of them and pulling out the ones that are activities that I know I won't be doing because I'm on vacation. For example, all like the house chores or work-related ones, because I'm not going to be doing that stuff while I'm traveling. And that way I'm able to kind of downsize the ones that I want to bring with me and get them to fit into one of my little folders. So these little folders are from Hobonichi, and they fit perfectly. They are perfect to store these Coffee Monster Co. sticker sheets. So I will link those in the description box down below. But I have 3 of them generally. I kind of need a 4th one. I think I might buy a 4th one pretty soon. But I'm just bringing one of them with me on vacation. I believe that was the plan, just to bring one. So I'm narrowing down the stickers that I need to bring. Okay, so I thought I was done. I had my little folder of stickers. I have my Canon selfie square. I had extra paper for it, and I had my pen case and my Hobonichi cousin. Then I decided that I wanted to bring one of these plastic folders, and these little things are little cases. I have a few of them, and they are so great because you can fit pens in them, you can fit stickers, and I love them for stickers and like magazine cutouts because they are hard, so things won't get like squished in your bag. And when you open it, it's not like an envelope, so you can just like sort through it very easily. So I decided to go through all of my like big stickers and magazine cutouts and bring along some things because I'm really enjoying using these types of things in my Hobonichi cousin, and I wanted the ability to have a lot to pull from while traveling without having it take up too much space. So I'm going through a lot of these stickers are from Redbubble, and these right here are magazine cutouts. So I'm just going through them and deciding what I'm going to put in my little pen pouch or plastic thing. And then I'm going to put my little folder in there, and I have a traveler's notebook pocket size. I have 2 of them. One is to collect my traveler's company or partner shops stickers, and then the next is just to have an extra scratch paper. We're off. First, a long drive to Boston to fly, and then checking in the Boston airport. And then we're going to fly all the way to Istanbul on an overnight flight. And then we're going to take a second flight from Istanbul back to Berlin. It was a very, very, very long process. Istanbul airport looks like a mall. Like, look at this, you guys. It is ridiculous. We stopped for a bite at McDonald's just to try what they have in different countries, and of course to get some coffee. And then we were off to Berlin. 34 hours later, I crashed my pillow in my hotel in Berlin, ready to get a good night's sleep before exploring our first day. So I didn't capture video footage of everything that we did, but I captured a lot and I'll try to share that with you as well as talk through our itinerary. The first thing we did was walk to the Brandenburg Gate. I forgot to take video footage of it the first time we walked by, so this video was taken probably around like 11 a.m. So you can see how crowded it got. We got there around 7:30 and there was no one there. So if you want to take photos, definitely go to things early if you don't want to have people in your photos. And we did get a good photo of us standing in front of it with no one else in the background. After walking through the Brandenburg Gate and getting some pictures, we got some breakfast at Espresso Eleganza, which was super cute, but I didn't take any video footage. Then we went to Dustman House bookstore. Again, I forgot to take video footage, but then we went to the Jewish Memorial, which was so moving. Look at this. It's just all of these blocks of cement, and it's just powerful without any words. So you can see the top and then you can walk through it. And we spent quite a bit of time looking through here and just seeing the magnitude of the memorial. Next stop was the Reichstag building, which is the main legislative building for Germany. And we booked a tour of the dome. I guess it's not really a tour, but tickets to get in. And that was something we had to purchase in advance online. We could not do a tour of the legislative building because it was not in session. So they were closed, but we were able to go up to the top and see the dome, which is really neat. It's this glass dome that's on top of the building and you can walk up it. But I will warn you, it's like a greenhouse in there. It's so hot. So we didn't spend as much time as I would have liked just because it was really, really hot. And I know that this is the American in me, but I don't know why Germans don't have air conditioning anywhere. It's so hot. The elevator and everything was just ridiculously hot. We got a very hot day this first day in Berlin in the afternoon, but most of the time there the weather was actually very perfect, but it was August and not having air conditioning in buildings was a little rough for us. After the Reichstag building, we got a quick lunch of currywurst, and then we headed over to the East Side Gallery, which is a portion of the Berlin Wall that still stands. And it is really kind of incredible how much of the Berlin Wall is still visible and in the city today. That is something I really didn't expect, having never been to Berlin before, was how prominent that wall is. It came down nearly 30 years ago, and it really is still, there's so much of it preserved for historical reasons and just as part of the history of the city. This is a city with a lot of history, and I love that you can still see it walking throughout the city. So the East Side Gallery is a large portion of the wall that's covered in art. You saw the first one side of it's just covered in graffiti, but then the other side has all of this beautiful artwork. And I did take some video footage of a few of my favorite segments, but not the whole thing, of course. It goes on and on for such a long time. We did walk the full length of it on both sides to see everything, but it was very, very beautiful. And it was so fun to see all of the different art. But at the end of this, we were pretty exhausted. So we went back to the hotel and rested for a bit, which made me have a little bit of time to reflect on everything we had seen in our journal. I apologize for the awkward angle and the blur, and sometimes my hair gets in the way, but it's a little difficult to film journaling while on the road, but I tried my best. And I had a decent setup here in my hotel. I had a nice little desk by the window. I really apologize for my hair in the film, but that's why I've sped it up quite a bit. So I started by journaling just about our day. I added some washi tape and I printed out a photo of me at the Berlin Wall in the East Side Gallery using my selfie square, and then I'm just doing all of my journaling and filling in this first day. I also will go back and do a little bit of journaling on the first few, like the travel days. What I tend to do when doing my journaling is fill in my weekly spread first because that is my overview. So I don't want to forget what we did in what order. And then if I have time, I will work on my daily page, filling in reflections on what we did. And then after that, I will go back and fill in older daily pages that I haven't gotten to yet. I did not film me filling in my weekly spread, and I don't think I did at all on this trip because I tended to use my phone as a reference while filling in the daily or the weekly spread to see like the order of my photos or the itinerary that I had in my notes app. And I also used my phone for filming, so I couldn't do both at the same time. After journaling and relaxing for a bit, we went out for another walk around the area where we were staying, which is in Potsdamer Platz. I highly recommend staying in that area if you are going to go to Berlin. It was very centrally located for all of the tourist sites, but it was also quieter and a nice area to walk around. We got ourselves some dinner from a bar type place. We weren't huge fans of German food, but I didn't expect to be because I tend to like more like vegetable and fresh things, and they like a lot of meat. And then we walked around and we saw a mall and just did a little bit of browsing before calling it a day. Day 2 started with coffee and pastries, again, my favorite way to start the day while we're traveling. And then we went to the Berlin Wall Memorial. This was the portion of the wall that's been preserved for historical reasons, that has a visitor center and a lot of the historical information. They even have a section that's preserved where you can see the dead zone in between the wall. And it was really impressive to see, because something of this magnitude, it's really hard to imagine what it really looks like unless you're there in person. So I'm really happy that they did preserve a part of this history. They also have a lot that you can read and learn about the Berlin Wall. And I liked that they left portions of the rebar that you can kind of see through the wall. And you can see all of these pictures on their displays of what it looked like at different points in time. Next, we took the metro over to Lubon, the craft store where I got my first Travelers Company partner stamp, and I made a purchase of a few little goodies. After Lubon, we made a stop for some delicious cookies from Round and E. And it was funny because they said they were like New York style. So I don't know what that means, but they were good. And then we walked to Museum Insel, which is an island full of museums. And we explored a little bit. We didn't end up going to any of the museums because the one we wanted to go to had a really long line, because there was some sort of exhibition this weekend. That was just kind of poor planning on our part, but also like we didn't know that exhibition would have been that ridiculously popular. I think normally you would be fine just showing up. Next, we took a stop at the hotel and I spent a little bit of time journaling. After finishing up the last bit of journaling for the previous day, I went through all the ephemera that I collected this day, just looking to see if there was anything I wanted to add in here. My first step for creating a page, especially a travel page, is just to look through all my ephemera and see what I want to cut out or glue down to make the base for my page before I add any words. There's all the Travelers Company stuff that I got from Lubon. It's so cute, and I was really considering cutting some of it out, but I decided against it for this. I might use it in my journal at another point in time, but I wasn't really documenting anything related to Travelers Company. Although I got the stamp from Lubon, I didn't actually buy any Travelers Company notebooks or products, and I'm not using a traveler's notebook here other than to collect my stamps. I'm going through all the flyers from the Berlin Wall Memorial and everything else that I did before I decided what to put down on my page. journaling, we were done sightseeing for the day. So we just went to see a movie. We went to see the movie Trap. They do have English language movies in theaters here. Something that was kind of surprising is how much everyone here speaks English. Of course, German is the primary language, but a lot of things are in English and a lot of people also speak English. And something that I had learned in college was that German is the language that's most closely related to English, but I never really had that much exposure to it prior to coming to Germany. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I was surprised how similar a lot of the words were, that most of the signs I could figure out what they said because of context and because of how similar German is to English. So a lot of the words were related to words in English, if that makes sense. Then I'm cutting out an extra one of the Travelers Company stamps from Lubon here. I brought 2 Travelers Company notebooks, the pocket size ones or the passport size. And one of them I am keeping my Travelers Company partner shop stamps in to document them. And then another one I bring extra, because you never know when you're going to come across stamps or stickers or things in public and you're going to want to stick them down. So when I travel, I carry that around with me and then I cut it out. So basically what I did was I used a couple of the extra stamps and stamped them down in there. So I would have a few extras to cut out for my documentation. After our movie this evening, we went and got a quick dinner of sushi. Like I said, German food is really just not for us. And then we got some ice cream from Haagen-Dazs, which I thought was German, but apparently it's American. So that was also kind of funny. And that wrapped up our full second day in Berlin. Day 3 was our final day in Berlin, and we started with a visit to Checkpoint Charlie, which is the portion of the Berlin Wall where you could cross between the West Berlin and the East Berlin side. So there's a sign that was in English, Russian, French, and German to explain the crossing, and you could see the checkpoint little, I don't know what that's called, the little house that the guard would sit in. And there's an American flag for the checkpoint, as well as that big sign. This is a huge tourist area, definitely worth a visit, but there are a lot of tourist sites right next to it, like museums and things. So definitely get there early. After Checkpoint Charlie, we went to the Topography of Terror, which is a museum about the Nazi regime. And while it was full of a lot of useful information and it was free to visit, I don't really recommend this one. This was probably the first site we saw that we were actually disappointed in, just because you can see from these images, it's just a lot of like writing and pictures. So kind of the same type of thing you could get from a book. If you are someone who doesn't really know a lot about the Nazis and the Holocaust, then I would recommend, because it's very educational. But this is a topic that I have read a lot about and studied in school, so I really didn't get anything additional out of it, and they didn't have that many artifacts. You can see a few of the ones that they have here. I did film some of them, but most of it was just reproduction of photos and words. Still informational, but
that was about it. Next, we went to the Jewish Museum, which was a collection of various sites and images from, or not sites, but artifacts from the Jewish community in Germany. And they had something that was like a miniature version of the Holocaust memorial that we had gone to on the first day. And they had a lot of just like pretty things to see, but it didn't make a ton of sense. We weren't entirely sure what a lot of these exhibits were. You can see like these colorful things. It was definitely pretty and interesting, but again, not something I would recommend as a must-see if you are in Berlin. It was free though, so that was good. They did have a paid exhibit portion, and we chose not to do that, partially because we didn't get that much value out of the free portion, and also because it was pretty expensive. I think it was like 30 euros a person, which is a lot, especially when you are used to paying US dollars for things. But you can see they did have a pretty neat setup. The building itself was pretty, and there was just a lot of just different random artifacts. After walking around the Jewish Museum, we got some hot dogs for lunch, and then we went back to the hotel to relax, and I spent some time with my journal.
Wir trinken aufhören. Ja. Klappe zu, Leber. Oh, meine Leber tut weh.
Here is one of my photos printing out using the selfie square. It's pretty fun to watch it. This is sped up 2x speed, but I printed out one of the photos from Checkpoint Charlie for my journal. And here I'm working on my journal. You saw we are also watching some German TV. It was kind of fun to see what was in English. There were a lot of things that were in English, and there were also things that were dubbed in German, which was entertaining to see shows that we know, like The Simpsons, dubbed into German. after our break in the hotel room, we decided to go for a walk. We went through a long walk through, there's a huge park in this area. And in the middle of it is this victory column. So we walked all the way through the park. They had part of it blocked off for some sort of race that was going on, but it was just fun to get out and see things and just see the city. We do kind of regret, I think we regretted walking the full distance because we had originally planned to take the metro, but the weather was nice, even though it was a little hot, and we had a lot of extra time and we wanted to just walk around. We do like walking, but when we're on a vacation like this, sometimes you need to kind of conserve your steps for when you really need them. So we walked through the park all the way to the other side, and we went to the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church, which is very, very beautiful. You can see that it is kind of just like built into the city, even though it is so old and it's kind of falling apart on the outside, but it's very gorgeous. Unfortunately, there was a lot of scaffolding right next to it, but we were able to go inside, and the ceiling, you guys, it was just incredible. After this church, we did do a little bit of shopping in the area. There were some fun stores like Muji and ID that I looked in and obviously browsed their stationery supplies and bought a few things. But unfortunately, the lack of air conditioning really made it hard to shop for that long. And that wrapped up our visit to Berlin. Off to the next city, Prague.
Hi there. I'm back in the United States, and I wanted to wrap this video up by sharing with you everything that I collected and how my journal turned out, and a little bit about my plan for documenting Berlin. So first, I think I showed most of this during the video because I did pretty much all of my Berlin journaling while we were there. I definitely added in some collage items, and then here's just like the end of Germany as we moved to Prague. I think that Berlin is probably my favorite one. I think you can tell as you see my later videos in this travel and document series that this was our first stop, and I was so excited to collect all the things and do all the journaling, and I definitely lost steam as I got to later cities, but that's okay. I'm super happy with what I have documented here. Putting that aside, here is all the ephemera and things that I collected in Berlin. You can see that I got a lot here. This is a super, super chunky bag, and I definitely collected so much. I will not save or use all of this, but for now I have it all in here. And these are just these large pouches from Studio Calico. This is what their scrapbook kits used to come in when they had those 12 by 12 scrapbook kits years ago. And I just have quite a few of them in my stash, and I brought 5 of them with me on vacation, 1 for each city, just to throw things in as we went. So I definitely picked up multiples of certain things. Let's see here. So first, these are like placemats from a hot dog place we went. I tore part off because you could see that showed up in my journal. And so I was very cognizant of like using things in my journal where I had multiples. My flight ticket. Here is the traveler stamp. So I do actually wanted to share this. So I brought this mini passport size traveler's notebook because I'm starting my official traveler's company shop journal. I have actually visited quite a few traveler's company partner shops in the past and not gotten their stamp, but there are ones that are somewhat local to me, like Toronto, Montreal, and New York City, because I kind of live like equal distance between Montreal and New York City. But I haven't been to stores further away before. And when I saw that 3 of the 5 cities I was visiting had travelers company partner shops, I decided to start this journal. And I haven't done anything in here except put a stamp. So here's my Berlin one, and I'll just show you quickly. This is my Prague one, and here is my Vienna one. And I basically just stamped them in here and gave myself 2 pages. And what I plan to do is go back and add the date on here and add a little bit about where the shop was. And if I have any other ephemera I collected from the shop, I'm going to put that in here as well. But I will work on that at some point. That's not really a priority at the moment because it's not going to be like things I have to remember. I can just go and look at my other documentation. When I went to that craft store, they did give me the Traveler's Time, so I collected that as well. I'm not sure that this is really Berlin specific. In fact, I know it's not Berlin specific. And I might use some of these things. I might cut this up because these would be really good for in my hobonichi cousin. But I like this map too. So I might want to put like that in here. I did leave a couple pages in the front. Obviously this won't fit, but maybe I can make it as like a fold out or something to show where the shops are. But I was looking at this and I can tell this is old because I know there's one in Montreal and it's not listed here. And so I've been to the Wonder Pens in Toronto and Yoseka Stationery in New York, but there's definitely one in Montreal that I've also been to. So September 2023. So they must have been a new one because I did visit them in the summer of 24. I didn't realize they were a new partner shop. But yeah, I will probably use this for something else and not keep it with Berlin, but for now I'm going to put it in here. Here's just a little takeout bag from somewhere we got lunch. Here's a napkin from Curry 36, and something like this didn't really keep that well. It got a little messed up. I will either maybe scan it or put it in something where that it will preserve it, or I'll end up just not using it in my album. We've got my plane ticket. This is just like a check-in at the airport. Another bag from a pretzel we got. I believe that's from a pretzel, but it does have German on there. These were something I bought. These were so I got a postcard, and I do collect postcards from around the world, so this will probably go in my postcard stash instead. I intended to make a book of them, and I never have gotten around to it, but that's just one I've collected for that. And then these I purchased. They were just super cute. I will probably put them in an album or something when I go ahead to make it. If not, I will end up just putting them as decoration in my home. These were printouts from online tickets. Probably not worth keeping, but they're in here for now. A receipt. Some bags from gift shops and little shops. Super cute. Those are always really fun in a mini album. And these were just some flyers from different museums I went to. Tickets from a museum. These are napkins from that same place as the little hot dog thing. Some of the free flyers from the Reichstag building. So I got the English. I accidentally, I guess, picked up 2. And then this, another one of the dome. Oh, I guess I ended up with 2 because we each picked up 1. Here's a sticker I purchased at Checkpoint Charlie. The museum maps. I really like to have museum maps, and I have 2 of most things because there were 2 of us. So we were each getting something, which gives me the option to use 1 in my album and 1 in my journal, or I might end up tossing it if I have too many at the end, or keeping a pouch of things from the year. I tend to do that at the end of the year. And this is from a cookie shop, and I thought this was super cute. This was had the cookies on it, and it was super covered in chocolate and stuff, so I went and asked them for a blank one, which they probably thought was a little crazy, but who cares. Another here's some flyers and stuff from the Berlin Wall that they had, all of these different things, so I picked up a bunch of them. And they even had this one, which was for kids, so I'm not sure what I will do with it, but definitely got a lot of stuff. More Travelers Company things from that shop. Here's the shop I went to, Luban, which is the partner shop in Berlin, and they gave me their postcards. They gave me a few of them. They were super, super cute and super great. I really liked the shop. When I went in and said I wanted to do their partner stamp, they were really excited, and the person working there was so happy about it, and she gave me all this stuff, and it was really, really fun. I picked up a loyalty card from a coffee shop, or hotel key. These were from our flight, so the menu from the flight there, which I'm not sure where that will go in my album. I'll probably do a travel section. Sushi Panda, this was a business card from somewhere we went. This was the receipt from the bathrooms. So a lot of the public bathrooms in Berlin are pay, so you get a receipt. Here are some cards from a coffee place. And then I think this was the map on the metro. And then I guess this was a bag something came in. that's not really Berlin specific, but I just got it while I was there. So that's everything that I collected. And my intention to document Berlin will be to do a project life spread, which I've already done. I have my journal spreads, which I did while I was there. I will probably make some like standalone spreads in my mini-me album. And then I do plan to do a 10x8 album of this entire vacation. And that is something I hope to tackle this fall, but I'm not sure if I will get to it because it is a huge project. And I have a lot of other projects coming up soon, but I have all of this in here until then. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks. Bye.